starts with only 1 tablespoon melts 4 pounds of body fat. So taking one, so you see how melts 4 pounds of belly fat, that's what people want to lose. And it's a very simple solution to a big problem that people have, right? Taking 1 tablespoon of this chili oil each morning can help you burn more fat than if you spent an hour in the gym. What's even more wild is that the more you take it, the better it works. That's because this spicy oil heats up your metabolism, allowing you to burn fat all the time, even when you're sitting on the sofa, right? So you see how it's just selling you on the benefits of this. This new and exciting thing does this thing that basically allows you to get the benefit, right? So you don't really understand, as a consumer, you don't really understand how the product works, but but basically you'll be excited by the fact that this new method of getting rid of the problem that you have is available, and that you kind of want to understand how does it work. So they just say, look, this new method, this is what it does, and this is how it gives you the benefit, even when you're sitting on the sofa, which just makes life so easy for the customer, right? It sounds crazy, but folks are losing 18 pounds of fat in 3 weeks just by taking this tablespoon every morning. So this is a crazy claim. Plus, it's something that comes from a common grocery store ingredient, which means it's cheap and easy to make too. And when you mix this oil with one other kitchen ingredient, you don't even taste the spiciness at all, which means it's something everyone can use. If you haven't started doing this yet, I recommend you make it a part of your morning ritual right away, and then it's a call to action, and then it's a little sign up. And then they do a PS. PS is something that a lot of email copywriters will use to basically sell the product even further. This free bottle of turmeric is only available, so it's limited. So there's a small amount of people who can get it. And if you buy it now, you will be one of those small amount of people. It makes you feel exclusive. It makes you feel like you're getting something that other people aren't, which feels great. So then they call to action again. So click this button, right? So that's another email. Finally, I'm going to go for this email. This is a very attention grabbing email. And again, it's a health based email. It sells a health product. So number 1, prostate killer. So what you have to understand as well is with these subject lines, basically they're sent out to people who already have done the research on the people who are getting these emails, because the people who sign up to get emails from a company are basically people who are interested in whatever they have to sell already. So the company knows a lot about this person. The company knows what your problems are, how they can solve them, and how they can appeal to your pain points. So as you can see, number 1, prostate killer, is obviously something that their customers think about. Dear reader, did you eat this for breakfast this morning? And then you click it, right? And it's probably just oranges or something, probably something really simple that a lot of old people would eat, because this is obviously targeted at old people. According to the National Institute of Health, which is a really prestigious, credible thing, this food could be killing your prostate. So this is the thing I want to avoid. This is the customer's thing that they want to avoid. This is the thing that they do all the time, which they eat this food. And this is a really credible way of saying, a really credible institution that says I shouldn't be eating it. So really credible person says, don't eat this thing. Oh, I'm eating it every single day. Oh, it's giving me this horrible problem that I have. So it says causing you to run to the bathroom every hour. So this is probably something that they've done the research on and that they know the customer has, is really bad bowels. And making it so that you never truly feel relieved. In fact, if you eat this food on a regular basis, chances are you wake up 2, 3, even 5 times a night to pee. So this is a problem that's probably very common among old people or people who have these issues with their prostate. Does that sound like you? And then it says, click here to discover this prostate killing food. So this one probably isn't selling a product. It's probably sending them to either a blog, or maybe it's sending them to a sales page that will then basically sell them on a product at the end. So this one is just intending to get the click. So they just want people to read this email, click this, and then probably read a sales page which will tell them to buy a product to solve this problem, right? And then again, they use a PS. You know the feeling where you're standing in the urinal at a crowded bathroom waiting for one single drop to fall out, only to zip up after what feels like an hour, return to your seat and feel that urge to pee come screaming back. All because you ate this one food. So it's really making an enemy out of whatever this food is, which is probably like oranges. It looks like something really common. and it's making an enemy out of it, and it's telling you about something that you can probably relate to. And then it's telling you that if you just click this button, we will just help you avoid this problem ever again. So if you're a copywriter, you need to be studying emails every single day if you want to get better at them. And the best way to do that is by using a swipe file. So a swipe file is essentially just a massive collection, like a Google Drive folder full of hundreds and hundreds of emails or other pieces of copy that you can study and get better at with. So I actually have what's called the ultimate swipe file, where we have multiple different swipe files of different types of copy, and it's all available inside our coaching program. I only sell one thing, and it's for beginner copywriters, and it's for anyone who's a little bit confused or they want to start making money with copywriting and they want to get started right away. So if you're interested, hit the link in the description. You get this ultimate swipe file along with so much more, which you'll see if you just click that link in the description. Okay, so in this section, I'm going to show you how to use an email autoresponder. This is an email marketing software that allows you to basically send out emails and do tons of different cool shit with it. So the one that I'm going to show you today is just one that I use for my business. It's called Kajabi, and it's not the most popular. It's not the most used, but it has all the same features, and this is pretty much the same across the board. So this is a good, easy one to show you how to use this, right? So as you can see, we have create your first email marketing campaign. We also have something called contacts, which is basically, it's going to be the contacts is like the list of people that are going to be on your email list. But we're just going to start with email campaigns because that's the simplest thing we can go for. So as you can see, we have two different types. We have an email broadcast or an email sequence. Now, what's the difference? An email sequence is a series of emails. It's where you write it all at once and then you schedule it out for as soon as someone does a certain action on your website. So an email sequence, a good example would be a welcome sequence. So let's say you visit a website and it says, hey, sign up for our email list, and you click sign up and you enter your email address. It will trigger an email sequence. So like immediately you'll receive an email saying, welcome, hey, how's it going? Then a day later, you'll be automatically sent the next email, a day later, the next email, etc., etc. So that's what an email sequence is. It's just an automatic trigger of emails. And there are tons of things you can do with that, where you can basically set it to, if someone doesn't open a particular email, you can send them a follow-up. So let's say it's like, okay, I noticed you didn't open yesterday's email, so I wanted to send you this again in case you missed it. It's a free training that I'm sure will help you with blah, blah, blah. So there's so much you can do with email sequences, but we're going to look at email broadcasts here because it's really, really simple. So the first thing we want to do is basically, what is an email broadcast? It's just when you send an email out at whatever time you want, and it's not triggered by an automation. It's basically just if you want to write like a daily email or a weekly email, this is how you would do it. So if we go in here, we'll see that there are lots of these crappy sort of templates. I never use those. Let's just call this one, create. And all contacts. So this is a brand new empty account, so there's nobody on this account. But if we just save and continue, you're able to select if you want only customers, like people who have previously bought something to receive an email, you can select customers. If you want people who have not bought something before, you can select those. You can do tons of different stuff with that, which is pretty cool. So it's going to ask for an internal title, so I just put one, and then it's going to ask for our subject line. And so what we do here is we pretty much just enter our subject line. And there are tons of different, these are all just pre-saved ones that I've sent out before. But if you want to customize like first names and stuff, this is pretty cool. So this is something you'll see on a lot of emails, is like they'll have your first name or they'll have some details about you, right? So you can do something like personalize, right, which is first name. And so as you can see, it just, once it puts that little code in, it will send that email out to everybody on the list. And if it has their first name, like if they entered their name and their email address, it's going to say, hey David, or hey Mark, or whatever your first name is. So the email will come up as like, David, I've got something for you, and it looks really personalized. And if someone sees that notification pop up on their phone or in their email inbox, they're going to pay more attention. Then you could start by being like, hey, first name, and you take a little comma, and then you get into whatever the email's about. And you can upload images, files, all that sort of stuff, but like nobody ever does these. We only ever use links. Also, like another cool thing is like if I have a link that I want to basically hide and make it look better. So if I want to say, okay, I just made a new YouTube video. We can go here. Sorry, can't even spell. New YouTube video. We can select all of this. Then we can go to insert and edit link, and then we can just go to www.youtube.com. Once we do that, now it's like added the link, so someone can just click on YouTube video and it will send them straight to whatever the video link is. So this is pretty cool, and there's tons of different things you can do. You can also, like, if you're writing emails, you want to try and write them in a way where people are actually reading in your tone. So whoever the business owner is, generally if you're writing emails, you're probably going to start writing for somebody with a personal brand. So you could be like, emphasize certain things. So this is where little tools like, you know, bold and italic and stuff come in. So it's like, I really want you to follow my new training, right? So instead of just having it like that, you could go, I really want you to follow my new training. And then let's say the training is like this. You'll learn 3 main things. Firstly, say email marketing. Blah, 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 blah. Secondly, sales pages, right? And then what you would do, you just go blah, blah, blah. Then you can pretty much just highlight that. Like, everyone knows how to obviously set up titles and stuff like that, but these are actually really, really important in emails if you're going to provide value, because you pretty much just make the viewer's life easier, and you have to do that. These emails have to be like the easiest thing in the world to read, because if they're not, then people won't read them and they certainly won't buy anything, and you just won't get hired. You can also set up little automations, which are just like little repeating tasks. So if somebody opens this email, you can trigger them as like, oh, they opened this email, which means they're interested in this type of thing. So we can send them more emails that's kind of the same as that stuff. So automations are really, really good. You can basically build, like with an email marketing software, you can build a machine for somebody that just prints them money, because you can set up automations. You can set up little sequences of things to happen that will only happen if, you know, certain people express their interest in something. So the same way that, you know, you feel like Facebook and Google are listening to your phone, this, you can essentially do the same from an email marketing thing. You can be like, this person, we sent them out 30 emails this month and they only opened the 5 emails that were about spiders. So let's send them products related to spiders or whatever. Like, you can basically say, okay, like if we even go to the automation, when email broadcast is opened, then do this, subscribe to an email sequence, register to an event. So register them for the spider convention next Tuesday or something. Or you can add a tag being like spiders, and then the next time you want to send out a broadcast or an email, you just say, I only want to send this people to who like spiders, because I want to send products related to that, or emails related to that product or whatever, right? You can also send coupons. You can be like, I saw you opened that email, blah, blah, blah. And that's pretty much it. So that is how you can use that. Let's just save and continue. I'll show you how to finish this. And you'd pretty much go here. You'd be like, this is your preview, schedule the email, and then you can just schedule this to go out whenever you want, basically. So we don't have any recipients because this is like not even a real website. But yeah, we pretty much just schedule this for a date and time to go out. We ideally want to send that out probably at like 3 p.m. or between like 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. in the UK or the US. Like, you just kind of want to optimize for those things, and you'll generally know how to send that, or like what time to send it out based on like where the audience is from. So if you've got a brand that's in the US and all the customers are from the US, you want to send it out at the best time for the US. So yeah, I'm going to try and not make this too complicated, but that's pretty much everything you need to know about setting up emails. You can send out email sequences, you can set them up 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. There's tons of different things you can do, but this should basically explain everything as simply as possible.
Okay, this next lesson is really juicy. I'm going to combine what I taught you in the research section and actually write an email live for a business owner that I found on Instagram. You really don't want to miss this one. I'm also going to include a bonus video here, a bonus lesson on how I wrote an email that generated me $5,000. I literally write it live in front of you. It made me 5K after I wrote it. So yeah, enjoy. This is the exact process I've used to write over 1,000 emails and make over $1 million by doing it. And today I'm going to reveal that entire process by writing a live email that I'd sell to a client.
I've used this process when I worked with some of the biggest brands in the world as a copywriter, so I guarantee you'll get results with it if you use it right. So now that I've shown you I'm a big shot, I want to get straight into the value here. Okay, so today I'm going to start nice and easy. I'm going to use a fitness coaching service as our example client, just so we have something to sort of visualize. Okay, so I'm just going to type in fat loss and see who comes up. Alright, so first result, Larry Doyle coaching. Alright, so Larry Doyle is going to be our example. He obviously has some sort of coaching program that helps people with fat loss. Now, the first thing I want to do is basically figure out, like, does Larry specifically work with any type of person, or does he work with anyone who wants to lose fat? So if he only works with like women or like men or older working professionals or whoever it is, we want to figure that out. Now, it seems like Larry just works with anyone who needs to lose fat, which is absolutely fine. I want to dial in on one type of person here because I think it's going to be a better way to demonstrate how to write an actual email. So I'm just going to focus on like young men who want to lose fat. Okay, so I've opened up a Google document for our practice email, and I've actually answered some quick questions here, which are questions you're going to have to answer whenever you decide to work with someone. So firstly, who's this email for? I'm going to write it for young guys who want to lose fat. So probably people who are like 16 to 25 and they want to lose a bit of body fat. And how am I going to get them there? So what am I selling? I am selling a fitness program, so it's like one-to-one coaching. That's £600 for 12 weeks. So I know how much it is, I know how long it lasts, and I know what it is. And finally, what link am I sending people to on this email? So I'm not just going to send them straight to buy the £600. It's just not how it works. You want to get people to book a call with Larry, because Larry will then close them on that call on the £600 service. Okay, so the first part of our process is to do our research. So we obviously know a basic bit about who we're working with, and I've made up some main details that'll give us some structure, but I want to do more research now on the type of person I'm going to be selling this to. Okay, so this is a really powerful tool called Ankava, and I always show it on my channel as a way to research for your potential clients. I'll show you how to use this tool later on in the video to make 10K a month as a copywriter, but right now I just need to do some basic research. So what you do, you basically go through here, and I just want to type in fat loss. So Ankava is going to do its work. It's going to pull up all these different like communities full of people who talk about fat loss and related topics to fat loss. So now I want to look through and find one that's kind of related to, I basically want to find a community where people who are like young guys talk about losing fat. Okay, so I've chosen this one called Lose It, which I assume obviously is just a fat loss sort of community. And this is pretty perfect because we can see stories of people who are in the current pain point of our customers. So people who want to lose fat, and they will tell us problems that they're having. So these are little nuggets of information that we can include in our email that we know that our customers will relate to. Sorry, I've just seen some of the recommendations down here. Small dick problems. Nah. Okay, so the first post that we see here. I'm embarrassed to go to the gym because of how little work I do and how out of shape I am. But if I don't go there, it'll never change. I don't know how to break this cycle. Any advice? Okay, so this is literally a post that someone has written with the problems that they have. So they want to go to the gym, but they just are too nervous to go there because they're out of shape and they don't want to get judged. Okay, so I'm going to document some of the research that I'm doing here and put it down on a sheet so that later we can come back and pull some of these little nuggets of information out and we can use them in our email. Okay, so I'm just reading through the comments. This type of stuff is literally where you make money. It's when you're reading comments of some old Reddit post that like barely anybody has used. This is where the sauce is. Okay, so I've just got a really good idea for this email, and this came from doing like 2 seconds of research. So the idea is we basically make our subject line like a quote, like, I want to go to the gym, but I'm afraid I'm too fat. Whenever somebody reads that, it's in quotation marks, and they're like, oh my God, that's actually something I relate to. They click the email. So this could be a subject line. Like this could literally be a subject line right here, because it obviously attacks a fear and it relates to people, and it's just an interesting one. It's like, this could actually be like a YouTube title on a YouTube video as well, and it would probably get a lot of views because it's a relatable thing for fat people. And I can tell you, because I used to be really out of shape like 2 years ago, and I had this exact fear. I was like, oh man, I'm going to be so out of shape, people are going to be looking at me, everyone else is going to be in great shape, but like nobody cares. But if this is a legitimate fear of your target customer, then you should definitely use it if you can help them with that problem.
Okay, so I'm going to go on this subreddit and just sort of search for the biggest and most popular posts in the last month. Actually, why don't I just search all time? Because if it's the most popular, a lot of people are related to that title, and so we could use it and it could get us a really good open rate on our email. Okay, so this is one that I haven't even properly read yet, but it's just given me another idea. So apparently my husband has a new girlfriend. So I'm thinking, from not even reading this might be related to, I'm out of shape and my husband left me because I'm out of shape, and now he has a new girlfriend and she's in shape. And this is obviously causing them insecurities and problems, which is terrible. But this is something that people might relate to, and if we can help them solve that problem of being fat, then we can, solve this problem for them. So I'm just going to write here, husband got a new girlfriend. Actually, if we're going to target this one for young guys, let's just change this slightly, because my wife got a new boyfriend. Because then we can sort of relate it to guys instead of relate it to girls. Okay, so new ID required, reason weight loss. Okay, so this is a great headline. This is actually seems to be a result. I think someone has basically lost a lot of weight, and so they need to get a new license because they've lost so much weight and they're unrecognizable, which is amazing. That's actually a cool one as well. So that's sort of like a positive one. That's something slightly different. So this might be a decent headline. I'm going to copy and paste it in anyway in case. Okay, so this is one that's legitimately like a pain point. Wife asked me to stop being on top as I was too heavy. So this guy, obviously, in his romantic life, is not able to do all the things that he wants to do because he's too fat. So it's literally causing problems in his life. And if we could help someone solve that, so this might be, again, something that people can relate to. So wife asked me to stop being on top as I was too heavy. So now that we've done our research, I kind of want to come up with an angle now for this email. So we're targeting young men, and we've got some of our research here. So I'm just going to kind of look through these and think which is the most powerful and interesting subject line or idea that we can use. So this is a positive one, but I don't think it's going to be as strong as having a negative one, because basically you're not going to be able to push enough of the pain point in. You could probably change this to girlfriend if it's young men instead of wife. And my wife got a new boyfriend. That one's pretty strong, to be honest. My ex-girlfriend got a new boyfriend. I want to go to the gym, but I think I'll get judged for being fat. So this is a decent one, but this one's a really strong one, because you're basically using love and romance and someone's deep connection with their partner as that's a much more powerful pain point than just feeling a little bit afraid of judgment, right? Because this one, it's imagine you lost your girlfriend because you're fat. You're going to want to really run away from that pain point. Whenever I got in the best shape of my life, it was after a breakup, because I was all right, I need to go out and find someone new, so I need to get in better shape, because if I continue the way I'm going, I'm not going to get a new partner. And so I think this one is really strong, and this is the angle I kind of want to go for here. Now we're going to use this sort of research. I'm going to come up with 3 different subject lines for this one. Now let's see. I think the quote is really, really good, because you can kind of tell a story with it, and it just doesn't even sound salesy, because you're literally just quoting something. So, she broke up with me because I was overweight. Let's think. Okay, this is another one. This is really deep shit, right? I'm going to try and not laugh at this shit, because it's honestly it is people's problems and it's not that funny. I know it can seem a little bit funny if, you're oh, this is, you're literally using this to, I suppose, sell a fat loss thing. But this is obviously people's actual problems, and we want to sell something that'll help these people get better. Even though these customers aren't real in our heads, we want to help them get better. If I were to choose 1, 2, or 3, you can choose in your own head right now. You can pause this or whatever. Just tell me which one you think is the best. I'm probably going to go for number 1, because there is a fear of missing out, right? So there's the fact that she's your ex. So what happened to cause the breakup? Maybe it was your being overweight. And she got a new boyfriend. So it's the fear of loss, and it's the fear of missing out. Oh my God, she's moved on from me because I was out of shape. This needs to be the catalyst that drives me to sort of
losing weight. So that's a really, really strong motivator, right? It's like a age-old quote. People join the gym because they've had a breakup, and I can relate to that as well. And so this is a really strong subject line that we can use. So for the body, I think I'm just going to start with something. I'm not going to even say like, hey, first name or anything like that, because you can start obviously by like saying like, hey, Matthew or whatever at the start, but I just want to jump straight into the story here. So I'm going to write on behalf of this guy, Larry. So let's just start here. So I was reading a Facebook post last night by a young man who lives in my local area. So we're just like coming up with a story. The stories don't have to be like real. Like you're literally creating a story here. It's copy. That's what you're doing. Your job is to create emotion and drive a sale. So you can obviously make it real. Like this isn't like we're exaggerating this. We literally found this from a real community. So it's just about changing it to make it more relatable to the person. He'd recently been through a breakup and was having a rough time. I actually knew this guy growing up and he was never in overly bad shape, but throughout college he started to drink a lot more and indulge in comfort eating, leading to him putting on a fair bit of weight. Okay, so funny note in the middle of this. This is actually kind of relatable to me. I'm kind of writing this from experience. Like I was never in bad shape. And then when I went to uni, I was drinking, I was eating, I was building my businesses. And I basically just ate so much shitty food and didn't work out. And I got in really bad shape. So I'm kind of writing this from experience. And if you can find something that you can write from experience on, like if you overcame a challenge or if there's a problem you have in your life and you kind of understand it inside and out, that's a really strong way to write emails because you're going to actually understand the problem, and like who better to write a relatable email than a person who's relating to it as they write it. So yeah, let's get back to it. I noticed from interactions with him that he was starting to lose confidence over time. He became more shy and introverted as he got more overweight. So I'm just kind of like telling the story, hooking them in, sort of exaggerating what's happening, exaggerating the pain points. So like I could just tell you the way I just told you that story, but like I basically just said like when I grew up, this is me just telling my own story. I was never in bad shape, right? I always played sports. I wasn't fat. And then when I went to uni for a couple of years and I was also working on my business and a few other things were going on and I was basically getting really, really out of shape. And so I've just told you that story in like a very condensed version, but I could tell you it in a very emotional way where I'm just like, yeah, like this really, really traumatic thing happened in my personal life and I went through this breakup and, you know, this happened and every single day I'd get up and just get fatter and fatter and my mom she just thought like I was never going to get better and all this shit. I could go into all these emotional pain points about it, but I've just summarized that to you. But the point of writing an email and the point of trying to drive someone to take an action with copywriting is to draw out that emotion and sell them the solution because they have a problem that you can help with. It seems a little bit manipulative if you're just sort of trying to use their problems against them, but you're using their problems in a way that you can actually solve. As long as you're not selling some absolute bullshit fat loss pill here and you're selling something that you believe in, then there's a perfectly good way to use copy. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's just talk about this guy as if like he's actually a client of this guy. This guy posts in my coaching group the following. So my ex-girlfriend got a new boyfriend. I'm just making up this story right now, right? This is an example piece of copy as well. So like if you're working with this guy, you actually need to find like a post that's real because I'm just making this up because I want to show you this for a demonstration. Okay, so right here, we've just shown like a student result. We probably put that in italics and we've pretty much done our body. A system that we've used here is called problem, agitate, and solution, right? And so we're about to give them the solution, but so far we've created a problem. So it's in the subject line, my ex-girlfriend got a new boyfriend, and then we agitate the solution, the problem by saying, you know, I've gotten really bad shape, all of this stuff, and now we're going to pitch the solution. So that was the post from an amazing young man who transformed his life in 12 weeks with me. If you've